Now at 9, Parsons, Kansas residents will vote next week on whether to renew a sales tax. We'll tell you what it funds. Plus, how the Joplin Empire Market is keeping its garden flourishing in the extreme heat. And
40% of the population is under extreme heat advisories. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with more on this dangerous heat wave coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. Authorities in Joplin have recovered a body after a vehicle went into Shoal Creek. Emergency crews responded to reports of a submerged SUV around 2:30 this afternoon at the west end of McIndoe Park. It appears the vehicle drove through a private drive in a wooded area before going into the water. As soon as it went in, kayakers paddled to the SUV to try to contact the person inside. When emergency crews were able to get to the vehicle, they recovered the body of a man. Authorities have not yet given the name of that victim. Cherokee County deputies arrested a man who had barricaded himself in a camper outside of a home in Weir, Kansas. 46-year-old Sean Galloway from West Mineral, Kansas, had multiple outstanding warrants, including a felony aggravated child endangerment charge. Deputies found him yesterday afternoon. After a brief standoff and a K-9 officer ready to deploy, Galloway surrendered. He's now at the Cherokee County Jail. Parsons residents next week will go to the polls to decide whether to renew a public safety sales tax. The tax has been in place for more than a decade, and the city is asking for a 10-year renewal. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has that story.
For the first time in 4 years, the Parsons Police Department has a full staff with 26 officers and 8 support staff.
We lost staff because we were not competitive with our surrounding agencies when it came to total compensation and benefits. We've been able to make some forward steps to be able to retain trained, experienced police officers.
In recent years, the department could invest in better wages and benefits for their employees. According to Parsons Police Chief, that's happening thanks to the public safety sales tax.
We don't want to lose that ability to be a career policing agency instead of a training ground for everybody else.
The tax supports funding not only competitive pay to retain experienced police officers and firefighters, but also to pay for their training and to buy vehicles and other critical equipment. For every $1 spent in the city of Parsons, half a penny goes to the public safety sales tax. Last year, almost $1 million was generated through it.
When it adds up, it's quite a big impact to our budget and everything that we can do to help the city. It's paid by a lot of people who don't live here. They come here to visit, they stay in the hotels, they eat at the restaurants, they shop in our stores. They help pay for this tax as well. So it helps spread it out so that all the burden isn't on property taxes of the residents themselves.
According to the city of Parsons, if it doesn't pass, they will need to find other ways to cover those expenses.
And if we did not have that as a revenue source, well, then the equivalent would be, if we wanted to maintain services at the same level, we would have to raise our millage rate on property tax. Nobody wants to pay more property taxes, including me and the rest of my staff.
In Parsons, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
According to a recent Parsons Police Community Survey, more than 60% of the 750 survey respondents support a public safety sales tax. Next Tuesday, the public safety sales tax is going to be the only item on the ballot in all of southeast Kansas. Boy, the heat goes on. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, another hot day for us today. We are soaring through the 90s, and then we got these clouds late in the afternoon, kind of capped us off at 99 degrees. And then we actually dropped a little bit throughout the evening. Normal high is 91 degrees. So another hot, very humid one. Heat advisory in effect again tomorrow in Missouri, Oklahoma, excessive heat warning on the Kansas side. And we had some clouds and even a few light little showers that kind of dropped through. Still a few light little showers in southwestern Missouri. Not much, just a few drops, but better than nothing. Most of us still very warm, sitting into the upper 80s at this point in time. In fact, we still have a heat index. It still feels like it's 93, 94, 95 degrees across the region. Are we going to get some relief? We're going to discuss that here in just a bit.
All right, we'll see you then. With these temperatures in or close to the triple digits lately, keeping your body cool is difficult. However, keeping a garden cool, that might be even harder. KOAM's Jasmine Knight visits Joplin's Empire Market to learn about the challenge of gardening in this heat.
With high temperatures for the remainder of the summer, you may think that raising a garden would be challenging. However, the Empire Market knows all the right tricks to prevent dehydration in plants.
Remember that underneath our soil is moister than on top. So right now, today, we have a very windy, very hot day, and so the top soil is going to appear extremely dry. If we insert our finger just 2-3 inches into the soil and you still aren't finding moisture, then your plant is needing water.
Despite popular beliefs, most plants won't die from the summer heat. Instead, they bolt, which is when they produce flowers and seeds instead of fruit. To combat this, Rachel Lynch suggests sunshades.
Is if your plants are getting that intense afternoon to evening sun, whenever it is the hottest, you can throw shade cloths over them, and that really helps them not feel the heat as intently.
In addition to building community through food, the Empire Market also hosts a multitude of events.
We're going to be building a shade structure, more garden beds are in our future, art projects. We also offer community yoga on Thursdays where people can come in and just get an introductory to yoga, and kids programming, Market Sprouts we do, which is where the kids can learn about nutrition.
So if you're looking for a fresh garden or just a place to feel the sense of community, the Empire Market is the place to be. Reporting in Joplin, Jasmine Knight, KOAM News.
The Empire Garden hosts Open Garden every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The Wilson County, Kansas Fair is underway, and some young farmers and ranchers are showcasing their livestock. All sorts of showcases, including cattle and pig shows. Tonight there was a glow walk or run, and this weekend there's going to be rodeo starting at 8 p.m.
Well, there's a lot of work that goes in at home, and it's just like basketball or any other type of sport. The work and the practice is all at home, and so that's why we spend a lot of time in the barns at night. But every morning and night they get fed certain supplements to maximize their body and their build, and so we feed them particular supplements to help them reach their fullest potential.
The rodeos will be tomorrow and Saturday starting at 8 p.m. KOAM today gave folks in Neosho, Missouri a chance to trade in their old tattered flags for brand new ones. It's part of our Great American Flag Swap. Today's event was at Arvest Bank in Neosho. The American Legion is helping us to retire those old traded in flags in the proper way. More than 100 flags were swapped out today.
We are super grateful for the amount of support that we've gotten from the community. We had just a couple hundred flags and we ran out really quickly, so we're taking names and numbers just to make sure that those that didn't get one this time will be able to order it and they'll be able to pick it up right here in Neosho still.
We're going to hold at least 2 more of these Great American Flag Swaps. The next one will be on September 1st in Miami, Oklahoma at Westco. The Ronald McDonald House of the Four States is celebrating a quarter century of helping families dealing with medical issues. The charity today hosted this ribbon cutting and an open house. The ribbon cutting kicked off a year-long celebration of the care and generosity of everyone involved. As for the open house, well, it's a chance for the public to get a better understanding of just what the charity does.
Of our Ronald McDonald House of the Four States, we are talking about over 3,500 unduplicated families from numerous communities in our four-state area. And when you look at the number of lodging nights that those families have actually called us home, we are talking over 35,000 lodging nights.
The Ronald McDonald House is at 3402 South Jackson Avenue in Joplin. Coming up, a new study suggests watching a 1-minute video on gun safety could save the lives of thousands of children. We're going to show you how. On average, one person died from a firearm-related injury every 11 minutes in the U.S. last year. It's a total of more than 48,000 people. A drop in firearm homicides helped drive that number down from 2021, but the total didn't decrease as much as it should have. The reason is because gun-related suicides are up to a new record high. For the first time, the rate of gun suicides among black adolescents 10 to 19 years old surpassed that of white kids. Guns surpassed car accidents in 2020 as the leading cause of death among children. But a new study suggests a 1-minute video on gun safety could save a lot of lives. Mandy Gaither has a look at the data.
It can happen in a matter of moments. Little hands on a loaded gun can have deadly consequences.
These are news stories we see all too often.
Between 2015 and 2022, an analysis by Everytown for Gun Safety found at least 2,800 people were injured or killed in unintentional shootings by children in the U.S. But a new study published in JAMA Pediatrics found a 1-minute gun safety video lowered kids' unsafe behavior around guns. Researchers studied pairs of children between the ages of 8 and 12. One set viewed a 1-minute gun safety video at their house, while another group watched a car safety video at home. Researchers say members of the gun safety video group were more cautious than those who watched the video on car safety when the kids found a real gun in a laboratory drawer a week later. Health experts say learning about gun safety is important, and so is making sure firearms are always locked away and stored separately from ammunition.
You don't want your 3-year-old or your curious 8-year-old or potentially a suicidal teenager, right, to have unauthorized access to loaded, unlocked guns in the home.
Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Frontenac 10 and under All-Stars baseball team is getting ready to head to the World Series. We're going to hear from the team in sports.
Well, of course, hot today. Temperatures, most of us right around 100 degrees. And then we got some clouds in here late afternoon into the evening hours. Few random little showers, more like sprinkles, but hey, whatever. We'll take what we can get. Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, nice shot. The evening daylight hour is starting to shrink up. If you've noticed that, it's pretty much dark by 9 p.m. All right, heat advisory in effect. Missouri, Oklahoma, excessive heat warning on the Kansas side for us tomorrow. Look at our temps. We're still sitting into the upper 80s across the region. Let's go outside. Here's 7th. Here's range line 88. Some sprinkles. Feels like 92. Visibility about 10 miles. And still we have heat indices upper 80s to lower 90s. Kansas and Oklahoma. So it's just kind of nasty out there. All right, the clouds kind of drop through. You can see the hit and miss little sprinkles, random little shower, not a big deal, kind of dropping through southwestern Missouri. But still, a couple sprinkles, McDonald County, Newton County, up through Jasper County, not going to amount to very much as we go through the next couple hours. Most of the Central Plains, pretty quiet, still dominated by this big dome of high pressure. Until this breaks down, we're not going to see a lot of changes. In fact, it kind of moves in right on top of us as we go through the next several days, and that just gives us more heat. But at least around the high, we're going to get some little waves kind of rotating around it, which definitely will be nice, giving us some rain chances. All right, the random showers out there tonight. Most of us dry tomorrow. We heat up mid-90s by noon. If we can get enough sunshine, we'll easily hit 100. There could be an isolated shower or two tomorrow afternoon, but most of us right about 100 degrees. Now, late tomorrow night into Saturday morning, we have a little better chance to get some hit and miss isolated thunderstorms. They wouldn't be widespread, but hit and miss little isolated thunderstorms as a wave works through. It would be great if we could see this Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon, a couple isolated guys trying to pop up as well. That may keep our temps down in the upper 90s, but we'll shoot for about 100 degrees. Besides that, we stay pretty dry. All right, day planner for you tomorrow. 80 to start, 92 by noon, 98 by 4. High temp of 101 during the afternoon. Heat indices, 105-ish across the region for us tomorrow. Even on Saturday, those heat indices about 100, 105. Still a little bit of a breeze. Winds out of the southwest at about 20 to 25, which at least makes it feel a little bit better than what it actually is. Alert day tomorrow due to the heat advisory. We'll see what we do tomorrow on the weekend. Again, 30% chance, so that means I think 30% of the area will get some showers Saturday morning, and then just hit and miss, guys, Sunday and Monday. Really heating up, so we're going to put possible alert days Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as that temperature increases a bit.
30% of us will get some showers.
It's better than 1%.
No, we'll take that.
Yeah.
If you do that multiple days, and eventually that might get to most of us.
There you go.
Coming up, health scare for a prominent senator.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell speaks out after what appears to be a medical issue that occurred in the middle of a news conference. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have that story straight ahead.
Planning a road trip before school starts? Yeah, well, then you better plan for higher gas prices. Prices at the pump went up 12 cents in 3 days. According to AAA, the national average for regular gasoline climbed 2 cents just today to $3.71 a gallon. That's the highest in 8 months, but that's still well below the painful levels of last year. In June of 2022, gas prices hit a record of more than $5 a gallon. The housing market might be warming up. The National Association of Realtors reports the pending sales index was up 0.3% in June. The number reflects signed contracts rather than final sales, so it's future looking. The June increase is the first since February, and the NAR's chief economist says it suggests the housing recession is over. He says demand is outracing supply right now, but adds that doesn't mean the market has recovered just yet. More than 70% of Americans cannot afford the median price of a new single-family home. That's according to the National Association of Home Builders. Some tiny home advocates say they're the solution to the housing crisis. Fox News multimedia reporter Mills Hayes is in Minneapolis with more on that story.
This tiny home over here is under construction to become another rental property for the landlord that owns this apartment complex over here. Now, you may have already seen some tiny homes on wheels, others used as vacation rentals, and some used for people who are experiencing homelessness. Now, there are more Americans that are plopping these tiny homes in their backyards for different reasons.
Minnesotan Patty Beldy retired and left her St. Paul home of 40-plus years behind for the country in Cambridge, Minnesota.
Oh, and there's my chickens. My sons and daughter kept on saying, why don't you look into those tiny homes and you can put it on one of our properties.
And that's exactly what she did. At around 500 square feet, her home is about 1/4 the size of the average American home, and it sits just feet away from her new job, taking care of her 2 grandkids.
They're affordable, and you can still live. All of your money isn't being taken away.
Nicole Deemer opened Yard Homes Minnesota in 2020, hoping to provide a solution for affordable housing.
I felt like we were lacking tiny homes. There's a lot of them on the East Coast, a lot of them on the West Coast, but not here in the Midwest. We've got family members that are moving from out of state to the cities to live in their children's backyards.
You might have seen Zach Griffin on the popular television show Tiny House Nation on A&E and Netflix.
It's filling the gaps in our housing ladder where we really just don't have any smaller, kind of more affordable housing that's available. And it's especially a big problem for older Americans that are looking for ways to downsize for retirement.
But many local governments have to change building or zoning codes to allow tiny homes. That process can take years.
The whole industry is set to explode as soon as the legislation kind of catches up.
Griffin says the organization that writes building codes partnered this year with the Tiny Home Industry Association to begin writing standards for tiny homes on wheels. Now, there are standards already written for tiny homes with a foundation like this one, but not every local government has them adopted. In Minneapolis, Mills Hayes, Fox News.
Up next, we're going to learn about a special flight for a 100-year-old veteran. This 100-year-old Navy veteran took to the skies yesterday, flying over Urbana, Ohio, in a vintage World War II plane. Donald Muncie, a World War II veteran and Korean War vet, sat in the front open cockpit of that 1942 Boeing plane. The flight was courtesy of Dream Flights, an organization that aims to honor veterans and give them an adventure of a lifetime, and in this case, a very long lifetime. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Democrats and Republicans get into it during a heated hearing on border policies used by the state of Texas. Plus, legal experts say the special counsel investigating Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 election could be nearing an indictment. The Justice Department warns a floating barrier in the Rio Grande could harm migrants seeking asylum in the U.S. Texas Republicans on Capitol Hill are firing back, saying the move is necessary to protect the southern border. Fox News senior correspondent Casey Stiegel has more.
Texas House Republicans defending their state's right to defend the southern border.
Every Texan is sick and tired of a federal government abandoning its duty to secure the border, leaving Texans exposed to death, destruction.
It comes as the Justice Department moves forward with a lawsuit over a 1,000-foot line of buoys in the Rio Grande River, claiming Texas installed them without federal permission. On Wednesday, the DOJ filed a motion for a preliminary injunction, writing the project has, quote, caused significant and ongoing harm to the United States' foreign relations with Mexico. The floating barriers all part of Governor Greg Abbott's border protection program, Operation Lone Star. Congressman Jody Arrington urging the governor to stand his ground, saying the border crisis is the country's most imminent security threat.
We have apprehended 4 times the previous 5 years combined of people on the terrorist watch list. We have more crime and criminals pouring into our country.
It all comes as Democrats brace for a potential impeachment of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. He testified during a tense hearing on Capitol Hill on Wednesday and told lawmakers his policies are working.
Our approach to managing the borders securely and humanely, even within our fundamentally broken immigration system, is working.
Back here in Texas, the price of that first segment of floating barrier is right around $1 million. In Dallas, Casey Stiegel, Fox News.
The grand jury looking at former President Trump's efforts to undo the 2020 election did not hand down any indictments today. Meetings had increased buzz around the U.S. District Court in Washington. Donald Trump later posted on social media, quote, "My attorneys had a productive meeting with the DOJ this morning explaining in detail that I did nothing wrong. No indication of notice was given during the meeting," end quote. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is back at work after going silent mid-sentence after a press conference yesterday. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
On another matter,
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell delivered his daily remarks on the floor of the Senate Thursday, just a day after he froze for almost 20 seconds in front of reporters at a press conference. Wait a minute. Are you good?
okay, Mitch?
McConnell appeared unwell but returned to answer questions.
No, I'm fine.
You're fine, you're fully able to do your job.
President Biden called his old Senate colleague after the incident. The senator took the opportunity to poke fun at the president's public fall over a sandbag earlier this year.
Well, the president called to check on me. I told him I got a sandbag.
Oh, nice. How are you feeling now, sir? How are you feeling now?
I'm fine. Gotta watch those sandbags.
Democrats and Republicans are concerned, but all want to see the senator back in action.
I always wish Leader McConnell well.
He was with me on the Senate floor last night about 9:30, 10 o'clock. He was very strong in everything that he was doing.
And a string of...
This episode is just the latest health issue McConnell has dealt with. He tripped and fell at a D.C. hotel in March and suffered a concussion. It was 6 weeks before he returned to the Senate.
The 81-year-old McConnell isn't the only one who's missed time in the Senate for health reasons. Democratic Senators Dianne Feinstein and John Fetterman have also spent time on the sidelines. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
A bit later, why experts say now is the best time to help your kids prepare for school in the fall.
Well, it turned out to be a hot one for us today. 99, the official high. A lot of areas hit 100. So super hot, humid across the region. That's kind of still what we're seeing out there right now. Of course, heat advisories in effect, excessive heat warnings once again as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. Still hot. Look at this. Temperatures across the board, upper 80s. It's well after 9 p.m. 88 is where we stand in Joplin at this point in time. And heat indices, especially on the Kansas and Oklahoma side, still feels 94, 95 degrees to your skin. All right, a couple little sprinkles kind of dropping through southwestern Missouri. Not a big deal, but a drop is better than none from Carthage, Neosho, and then down into eastern parts of McDonald County. But of course, we're still dominated by this huge area of high pressure out to our west. Until that breaks down, we're not going to see a whole lot of changes. All right, let's go through time. We're going to go through about the next week. Random isolated shower tonight. Most of us start at about 80 degrees. Look at this. Low to mid 90s. By the noon hour, we do get some clouds late in the day, and there could be an isolated shower or two, but most of us high temp right around 100. Very similar to what we saw today. Tomorrow night, we only drop back to about 80, but look at this. Some scattered, isolated to scattered little thunderstorms try to pop up. So here's 6 a.m. on Saturday. These roll out of here, but a few more try to get going early afternoon. So we are going to have some hit-miss storms on Saturday, but again, high temperatures right around 100 degrees. Day planner for you Friday, 80 to start, 92 by noon, 98 by 4, high temp, 101. Heat indices are going to be up there. The way it's going to feel to your skin, 104, 105 degrees tomorrow afternoon. This is going to be the same setup as we go into Saturday. Heat indices, 104, 105. Now, a little bit of a breeze. It's a hot hair dryer, but a little bit of a breeze. Winds gusting 20 to 25 tomorrow. And then as we go into Saturday, they start to calm down a little bit. So the winds are going to be much calmer this weekend. If you're heading out to the lakes, it won't be as rough on Saturday and Sunday. All right, let's go down the road. Look at this. Temperatures, so on Sunday, still holding into the triple digits. And this trend is really going to continue as we go through next week, getting hotter. We may get a few showers by the time we head into Monday morning, but our chances for rain just aren't that good over the next several days. Our best shot is going to be Saturday morning. Alert day tomorrow due to the heat advisory and also the excessive heat warning near 100 all the way through the weekend. Then we start to climb a little bit. 103 Monday, 104 Tuesday, 105 on Wednesday, and then finally, our average high is 91, but finally about 5 or 6 degrees above average late next week.
That's awful. That's ridiculous.
It is. It
My goodness.
stinks.
Yeah, 91 sounds pretty nice. That would be typical. Thanks, Doug. For millions of Americans, it's going to come as no surprise. July is on record to be a record-breaking month when it comes to heat. Climate activists say it's more proof of climate change. Others say it's just summer. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera is in Washington with more on this dangerous heat wave.
Millions of Americans from California to the nation's capital are under extreme weather advisories, and many people are feeling the heat.
Just feels like every summer it gets hotter and hotter and the weather gets more extreme.
Nearly half the country is sweltering. Record-breaking temperatures that have baked the west and southern U.S. for weeks, now spreading to roast the Northeast.
It's hot as hell out here.
The excessive weather putting a strain on power grids and causing heat-related injuries and some deaths. Experts warn folks to stay hydrated if they can't be inside.
If you go outside, use an umbrella, put some sunblock, try to stay in the shade.
Scientists calculate July will be the hottest month on record across the globe. Some people agree these scorching temps are the worst yet.
I've been here 42 years and this is probably the longest stretch, and it feels hotter this summer.
While others say it's just typical summer conditions.
Sometimes it's hotter than we'd like it to be, but we manage. Just drink a lot of fluid. That's all you can really do.
And now President Biden is stepping in to help Americans beat the heat, unveiling his plan on Thursday to protect communities and combat climate change.
We really want to pretend these things are normal. Experts say extreme heat is already costing America $100 billion a year and hits our most vulnerable the hardest.
The Biden administration launching the website heat.gov to help Americans stay cool and prepared in this record-breaking heat wave. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, a chance to hear from Pitt State Baseball's newest commit. Plus, we're going to find out how the Frontenac 10 and under All-Stars are preparing for their trip to the Cal Ripken World Series. John Dales has those stories and a lot more coming up next.
The Frontenac Baseball 10 and under All-Stars are state and regional champions, which gives them a berth in the Cal Ripken World Series in Indiana. Now that's an opportunity to play against 23 other teams from across the country and the world.
It's really exciting when you take a look at the map that Cal Ripken's got and the stars for each town and where they're at. It really opens your eyes as how lucky the kids are and the opportunity that they have.
A chance to spend the summer playing in tournaments against teams from as far away as Alaska, Hawaii, and Australia wouldn't be possible without the help of those outside the team.
We need to acknowledge our community here, the support that they've done for us in the fundraising. We're going to be in Indiana for 7 to 10 days. The community's got behind us. We've had some car washes, we've had some calendar giveaways to raise money to help the parents offset the travel and the expense.
Ultimately, that hard work of fundraising and practicing in 100-degree temperatures is so that the players can make memories that'll last a lifetime.
It's fun, and because you get to meet different teams, and it's kind of interesting. Seeing kids from all over the country and other countries, and we get to go to a Cubs game too.
It's fun because I like baseball.
The team heads to Crown Point, Indiana this coming Wednesday. Now the tournament begins with pool play a week from Saturday. That lasts until the championship a week later on August 12th. Pitt State baseball picks up another commitment this week. J.J. Spafford, a rising senior at Bentonville High School in Arkansas, announced his commitment to the Gorillas on Wednesday and says the entire recruiting process sped by once he knew Pitt State was where he wanted to be.
I went on the visit last week and I talked with Coach Dean and Coach Bob, head coach, and he told me he wasn't going to offer me right then because he wanted to make sure I was fully in for Pitt State. And that night, I was at a friend's house, and I texted him. I was ready to go. I loved it when I was there. I loved the coaching staff, loved the school facilities. And he's like, all right, I'll give you a call. I'm at dinner with my wife, and he gave me a call 5 minutes later. And, all right, let's do this thing. Let's be a Gorilla.
A former Northeast Oklahoma A&M football player is back in the NFL. Jay Sternberger, who played for the Norsemen in 2017, he just wrapped up his season with the USFL, but now he's signed with the Buffalo Bills, the team announced this week. Sternberger was picked by the Green Bay Packers in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft. Kind of bounced around the league before ending up in the USFL this past season, and you might remember he caught this game-winning touchdown pass for the Norsemen to advance to a 2017 regional championship. He joins a Bills team with 4 other tight ends on its current roster. Kind of a pretty cool comeback story there for Sternberger. He's not necessarily a young guy, 27 years old, been around for a while, but getting another shot.
We'll see if he can make the most of it.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. Of course, school is still out for the summer, but with nationwide math scores for kids significantly down since the pandemic, academic experts are sharing what parents can do now to help make sure their kids are prepared for the fall. Fox News' Sean Langle reports.
With many kids still enjoying summer vacation, school is probably the last thing on their minds. But with children across the country still trying to catch up on math skills lost during the pandemic, academic experts say it's never too early to prepare them for what's in store once school resumes in the fall, especially young kids.
There's a lot of research that shows that children's math skills that they have at the time that they begin school predict not only their later math learning or math achievement, but also their overall school success.
For starters, Sarah Eason of Purdue University says math is all around us and recommends parents take every opportunity they can to point out those examples.
Activities that young children love, so things like building blocks, doing art projects, playing sports, learning about nature, all of these things can and often do involve a lot of math. And so when children learn to see that and appreciate how the math in those activities actually helps us do those activities, that can really make math more joyful.
Parents are also advised to incorporate math terms into their vocabulary.
When parents use words like that, so number words, counting words, quantities, comparing sizes, all of those words and hearing them help children learn how to think about math.
It's also important for parents to ensure kids that math can involve making mistakes, and that's perfectly normal.
It's okay to, struggle a little bit, and that's something that having that comfort with that is going to make it a lot easier for children to, learn math when they get to school.
Sean Langle, Fox News.
Coming up, how an Arizona woman is honoring those who lost their lives on 9/11. Not even extreme heat will stop an Arizona woman from doing what she loves. For more than a decade now, she's run every day for a special reason. Fox's Irene Snyder takes us to meet her and learn more about the motives behind her daily runs.
A record-breaking heat wave wasn't about to slow down Denise Griffin.
I'm trying to get out earlier because it's so hot. The hottest was 116 degrees and it was humid.
She's been running her 2 miles every day since September 14th, 2001.
There's not a day that goes by that I don't think of 9/11, and I will take my flags out with me. I felt really bad for everybody there. I didn't know what to do. I just felt compelled to do something, and I was a runner prior, so I just picked up a flag and started running with it.
3 flags, one depicting an eagle and the Twin Towers.
This one is the flag of honor. This one is the flag of heroes.
It suffered some wear and tear over the years.
They had to put screws in here, you know, to put the holes in and everything. And there's the smog.
And with the 110 plus degree temps, she's been forced to get up earlier and earlier.
If I get out too late, by the time I get home, my legs are pretty much rubber.
But no matter how tough it gets, Griffin says she'll never stop and she'll never forget.
It's my passion, so yeah, I'm not going to stop.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a tiger in a swing at the London Zoo. Let's make it a great tomorrow.